He bowls 7 overs, none for 34. His economy rate now drops under 5 overs at 4.86. Bristol will return, will continue in fact from the northern end. He bowls 2 overs for 19 runs.
Quick look at the field. He has a long on, long off. Sweeper on the offside, short third, short extra cover. As Mario prods forward, pushes the ball back to the bowler. Short 45 on the leg side, short fine. Short mid wicket and a deep fine leg. A deep square leg, sorry. Here's Belcon cutting away forward of square on the offside. Well fielded down there on the boundary. And he picks up another brace.
Good fielding from him. He was well committed down on the boundary. So Belcon just getting closer to his 50, his first landmark in this match. In the air he drives. A kind of a square drive in the air. He will pick up 1. Deliberately lifted over the infield. Felix not getting the same result. The Bristol have him going for 19 runs in the first 2 overs. He started the 3rd over and facing you is Mario Belcon. Belcon will return. He will get back the strike as Felix picked up a single to go on to 7, sorry.
Just as you say, we have lost the sun comes out.
Yes, the sun is back out. Players just have to bear with it. So we are seeing on the field the cloud and the sun having a discussion.
Also after 14 overs, Maryboy is 82 for 2. First ball of the 15th over. Medina continuing from this southern end.
Medina looks like he's going to bowl out his 10 overs on the trot.
And I think this is a good move from Captain Alexander. Medina so far, as we see Felix cutting away to square cover, picking up a single, adding 1 more to the total. Maryboy is 83 for 2. I think this is a good call by Captain Alexander to keep Medina on. He seems to be the pick of the bowlers so far. There's Belcon on the back foot, punching to extra cover, no run. In his 7.4 overs, he's only gone for 35 runs, an economy rate of just over 4.5. Belcon pushes past that first slip and past the short third. Ball running down to the boundary. It will be picked up now. And Belcon adds 2 more to his total, moving him on to 47. Not to put the mockers on him, but he is eyeing yet another 50 for the season. This time in the white ball format. As Medina into Belcon, pushes it to short mid wicket, picks up a single, moving him on to 48.
So after 15 overs, Mary Boys batting first at 86 for 2. Belcon is on 48. Felix with him on 8. Batsmen and the 2 wickets would have fallen. Jarrell Ned caught Jordan Samkaran. He went for 8 and Craig went run out to the run out route. He made 19. Well driven on drives, and you will get 1. Very close. So Bristol, who started with an economy rate of 9 runs per over, went up to 9.5. Now it's down under 8. So he's getting better gradually. Medina on the other hand has gone 8 overs for 38 runs. His run rate has dropped under 5. 4.75 runs per over his economy rate.
Here's Belcon pulling down to long on, and he'll pick up a single, carrying him on to yet another 50 for the season. Definitely showing his experience, his class, his power.
And this is how I like how he's batting. He's only hit 5 fours in his 50, but he's batting at a strike rate of 113, which shows you can run 1s and 2s and not only look for the big shots.
I think most players sometimes they get caught in that mindset of it's a shorter format and I have to hit out all the time. I have to look for the boundaries. And I mean, we are talking about it here at local level, but even at the West Indies level, it has been discussion for many years that we soak up too many dot balls and we rely too much on our power hitting.
Yes.
Whilst we look at the international game, many of the international teams have come of age where they have learnt to mix the power with taking singles and lowering the dot ball percentage.
Of course.
As Medina continues from this southern end where we are perched. First delivery pushed out short extra cover for no run. Yes, Felix driving square of the wicket, stopped in the gully region by the short third fielder. No run to the score. It's 90 for 2. And this is 17th over.
What you were saying is, and there's also a contrast to that. The same way batsmen have this, they go into this mindset in Test cricket. I see they also go into a mindset. They tend to think that, okay, because it's Test cricket, we have to bat boring. We can hit 4s and 6s in a Test match as well, like how England has changed the way Test cricket is being played.
And the change that England has brought in the last 2 years to how they're playing the longer format of the game, I think has spilled over to many teams around the world. I mean, even locally here, this very Mary Boys team, when you look back at their red ball season, they scored at quite a substantial rate of knots in some of their games. Yes, Belcon pulling, caught at short cover, short mid-wicket, and you can see the joy on defence force. They know that that is a big fish, no pun intended, to the size that Mario has put on over the years, But definitely,
It was a skipper, I think, Alexander, with a brilliant catch. He didn't have a violent pull, but he didn't make the height. And we know Alexander is not the tallest person on the field, and he did get up and snatch that, pluck that from in the air. Very good catch.
as we look back at the replay, you see Medina putting the ball short of a good length again. Mario leaning back and pulling, not timing it to perfection. And as you said, the skipper Alexander timing his jump well and able to pick up the Mary Boys captain, who walks back to the pavilion.
It's 91 for 3.
This one. 50.
Belcon going for an even 50 from 46 balls.
And again, you can see the joy from the defense force players. The minute Captain Alexander took that catch, everyone on the field rushed to him. He stood there, he pumped his fist in the air. Again, the reputation of Mario Belcon probably preceding him here.
So they must be thinking, yes, we have the big fish, he's gone. We can make some inroads in this team now. So just reminding you, this is the Premiership North final. We still have what is playing simultaneously in Pre-Sal, the Premier South final between Marchand Sports and Caldrock. So this is in effect like a national semi-final for the division, the Premier 2. Look, oh, he's in pain. The return came in and apparently got him on his shin. He's in pain. He's reminiscing in some pain. He's turning on the ground. But you know, these regiments and soldiers know a thing or two about pain. He could soldier on with that, but see, the medics are running onto the field to assist Medina, who's just one ball away from completing his 9th over, just 39 runs. And he is having a very good spell. And Bristol, on the other hand, has brought his run rate down to under 7 now, 6.75 after 4 overs. Medina 4.42, one ball short of 9 overs.
At the end of the 17th over, Mary Boys 93 for 3. Captain Mario Belcon just out in the previous over. Joining Samuel Felix at the wicket is Sachin Baliram. Here's Baliram tucking away to short mid-wicket, taking up a single. So we take a quick look at the field. Deep mid-wicket, long on, short fine, short extra cover, point, short third, long off, and sweeper on the offside. One more added to the Merry Boys total by Samuel Felix.
Just prodding, pushing back down the pitch where the bowler will feel his own bowling. That's the end of another over. Bristol Medina will bowl his final over. 9 overs on the trot. Going to bowl his 10th over. 9 overs, 1 for 40. An excellent effort from him. Ready a dot ball in this over.
Of course, picking up the prized wicket of captain Mario Belcon.
He's darting them in.
And this is one of the benefits of them bowling their spinners. With just about over 1 hour in the game gone, they have already completed just over 18 overs.
Yes, we have had 18 overs and haven't had a drinks break yet. Ball is a shout, a stifle, a shout. Not getting the call his way. Driving back down, they will get no run again. So 4 dot balls in this over so far. Very good effort from Medina. Oh, this one just squeezing past and he will get 4. So Baliram gets 4, cutting. Medina just erred a bit, giving that room, that space to free his arm and cut for 4, and that spoiled an otherwise very good over. 4 dot balls on the 4.
A very good spell, in fact, with one delivery to go, and this is 10th over. And in the 50 over format, you bowl 10 overs for anything under 50 runs. You'll take that on any given day.
Very good. Because you hardly see that these days with the advent of 4 of the T20, because the T20s would have increased the rate of scoring in the 50 over tournament.
I think T20 cricket has indeed helped in all formats of the game, as you mentioned earlier. The way England are playing the red ball game now, you see players who you would normally associate with the 20 over game in Harry Brook being in the test team.
So, yes, it has helped, but I would also argue that it has caused some issues. But Medina continue to impress. He completed his 10 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 44. So it'll be interesting to see who bowls on the other end. Is a catch. It's taken. It's taken. So another wicket for Defence Force as Merry Boys loses their 4th wicket. Samuel Felix. He goes. The 4th wicket down. Bristol with the wicket, 5 overs, 1 for 30.
And he's come back well. As you mentioned, his earlier overs were going at 9 runs and over. Now he's brought his economy down under a run a ball.
Yes, his first 2 overs saw him leaked 19 runs, and his next 3 overs cost only 11, as we see Kadir Mohammed.
No introduction needed. I think your friend is coming into bat with the situation well poised.
But he's capable. Usually he will be with us here in the commentary box, but today he's out there in the hot sun, and he's going to do what he can, see what if he can save his team from a spot of bother. 100 runs on the board in 4 wickets down. We're in the 20th over.
And Kadir is one of those players that didn't feature much in the longer format of the game, in the 2-day tournament, but has made the white ball his own. And as you mentioned, a water break. With the fall of that wicket, we take the first break for the morning. And 19.1 overs, Merry Boys going along nicely at 99 for 4.
So Mary boys, Kadir Mohammed is on 4 already. Baliram is on 7. They have to do some repair. They have to do a repair job right now. 4 wickets down already in the 20 overs. So Baliram and Mohammed would want to set themselves targets. Let's bat for the next 10 overs without losing a wicket. Let's get to 30 overs. Perhaps about 40 to 50 runs. So if we can get to 150 at 30 overs and then take it from there. But they need to set themselves short targets. So it's another spinner from the southern end who's operating. That's Fires John. Another spinner. So apparently Defence Force would have looked at the game yesterday, the final of the Premiership one, and took notes. They would have noticed the spin was the key yesterday for Clark Road's victory over Queen's Park. Looking to cut that one, but it was too close and it stayed a bit low and picked up by the wicket keeper. With a shout, loud appeal, but the umpire just walks away, indicating that it's not out. It says leg by as they scuttle for 1. So definitely no bat involved, not on target as determined by the umpire. Another ball that goes straight through to the wicket keeper. That's the end of the over. The first over from John. He only concedes the 1 wide. And apart from that 1 wide was the leg by from his first over. And the Merry Boys are 105 for 4 after 21 overs. So Baliram and Mohammed, they have a job to do here.
4 of the top order batters now gone. And now in the middle overs they would have to somewhat rebuild the innings. And as I mentioned earlier, with the spinners in operation, it's not giving much time in between overs and during an over.
But there's a change at the north end, and there's another. Bristol is coming off after bowling 6 overs, 1 for 34. A decent spell, just 5.6 runs per over. And now we are seeing, it looks like Cyan Kane drives, but down to long on. Doesn't pick up cleanly. But because he was positioned, he had the correct technique in fielding, they only get a 1 run. The Cyan Kane right arm around the wicket, bowls get away for 1. They come back for the second, they have to hurry. And hurry they did, and They return for the 2. So Kadir Mohammed goes along to 6. Baliram is on 8. Drives back to Kane.
And even in this 22nd over, you can see Captain Alexander employing the use of a slip. Here's Kadir turning the ball to backward of square on the leg side, picking up yet another single. I think this is a very aggressive move by Captain Alexander to still have a slip in play, even in this the 22nd over.
Looking to turn that on the onside, they will not get any run.
Final ball of the 22nd over is Baliram
In the air, and the ball falls safely between the 3 fielders.
no man's land. Another single picked up. Maryboys moving on quite nicely to 110 for 4 after 22 overs.
Just about 4 runs, 4.5 runs per over.
What do you think, Ian, that they may be looking at the end of 50 overs? Where would Maryboys want to be? What would be safe for them, you think, to defend?
Well, given the attack that defense force is employing with their spin, and given that 4 wickets have already fallen, they would want to be cautious. So I'm saying, let's say, they can get to about 30 to 40 runs in the next up to 30 overs, may get to 140, and depending on how the wickets go, they can get a next 60 runs in the next 10 overs. That can take us about 200, and let's see how they can get the next 50 to 60 runs in the last 4, maybe getting to 250 to 260.
Well, they always say that you can double your score after 35 overs. And even in this modern era of cricket, where the back end, usually you find even the lower order batters coming in and being able to up the ante and up the scoring rate.
But you can do that when you keep your wickets intact. They've already lost 4 wickets. Now, the reason why Clark Road was able to get 340 plus runs, because after 40 overs, they had only lost 2 wickets. We had Mohan and Yannick Utley well set and going along, so they were able to accelerate. And even when they lost their wickets, we saw Joshua James not wasting any time. Dijon Charles hitting some 4s. So that you could only do that if you have wickets in hand. It would be difficult for Maryboys to do that at this stage. So that's why it's very important for this pair, Baliram and Kadir Mohammed, to stay there as long as possible. Stay there for the next 10 overs, then take a next 10 overs. Try to be there still for 40 overs. And then with 4 wickets in hand, after 40 overs, they can accelerate.
And I think that would be the discussion between Kadir Mohammed and Baliram. Keep the scoreboard ticking. Let's get the team to 35, 40 overs. Assess where we're at that point, and then see how many we can get in the back end. As we come to the end of the 23rd over, Maryboys' score stays at 110 for 4.
Yes, and it's a maiden over bowl by John. So already on the spin, having a stranglehold on the Maryboys team. Defense force defending well.
That they are. And A maiden over in the shorter formats of the game are like gold dust.
Imagine bowling a maiden in a T20 or a T10.
From the five John.
Oh, by Kane. Okay, Kane is bowling from the top end, or the northern end, or what we will also call the far end. We are on the southern end, on the administrative building end.
Kadir Mohammed facing up.
That's a spectator's catch.
Played with a lovely straight bat, I must say. One bounce back to the bowler.
Couldn't get past that man there at point, Kadir Mohammed.
Sion Kane is quite a tall lad, and he has a very high arm action for a spinner. So Mohammed and Baliram can expect some extra bounce possibly coming from the bowling of Sion Kane. Here's Kadir again, pushing back with a straight bat back to the bowler. And just like that, half of the over is already gone and no run has been added yet to the score.
This could be 2 consecutive overs, 9 dot balls in a row. This time he breaks the duck and gets 4 runs. Kadir Mohammed cutting well, and he goes on to 11. The score 114 for 4. Kadir Mohammed passes Baliram. Baliram is on 9. 114 for 4.
Definitely well played by Kadir Mohammed. A little bit shorter from Kane and allowing him to just rock back onto his back foot and place it nicely between that first slip and point fielder. We see Captain Alexander now employing almost like a fly slip. I wouldn't consider that a short third. There's Kadir pushing to short extra cover, and they set off for a quick single. Kadir moves on to 12. The Mare boys score on to 115 for 4, with 1 ball to come in the 24th over. Pretty regulation, even set field, 4 on the leg, 5 on the off. There's Baliram pushing to short cover, picked up a no run. At the end of the 24th over, Mare boys 115 for 4.
Some good bowling from the operating spinners, John and Kane. John, 2 overs, 1 maiden, none for 1. C and Kane, 2 overs, no maidens, none for 10. I'm not seeing number 29 on this page. Okay. John is continuing his third over. Loud appeal, but the umpire says not out. Well bowled. John, the previous over was a maiden. He's already found his spot. No, he spoiled his maiden. What could have been a maiden with a wide down the leg side. Oh, he pushes that down to a long one. They will get one. So 2 runs off the over from John. He goes on to a stifle appeal, but the umpire walks away. So 3 overs, 1 maiden, none for 4. The figures of Fires John and Sion Kane, 2 overs, none for 10.
And the Merry Boys score 118 for 4 at the halfway mark of the inning. And if you go by, it's the halfway mark, I think Merry Boys can definitely look at getting in the region of 260, 270. Given that they do have some batting to come. And I had asked you earlier where you think they might have ended up. I think they have a good enough bowling lineup. Kadir said that they have the use of 4 or 5 spinners in the Merry Boys lineup. Speaking of Mohammed, he is cutting away to the sweeper on the offside, picking up yet another run. So the field for Baliram, a slip, short third, sweeper on the offside, long off and short extra cover. It's Baliram pulling the ball, slog sweeping all the way down to cow corner mid-wicket for 4 runs.
Of Baliram and Mohammed going along quite nicely. They have to repair that job of repairing the innings. Oh, that's well placed, well guided by Baliram. I will just trickle into the well saved by Stephen Hamilton on the boundary.
I think anything later than that would have been absent.
Anything later than that will be absent.
Definitely a well played shot from Baliram. Just using the pace of Kane to get the ball down to the 3rd boundary. Here's Kadir Mohammed facing up to Sion Kane. as we see some dust blowing.
Is it
Yes,
bowled
he's
behind
bowled
his
him.
back?
He's bowled him.
That's not what Mary Boys would have wanted at this stage.
It makes me question what the discussion was with the batters. They met mid-wicket a couple of deliveries ago after Baliram slugged sweep down to the mid-wicket boundary. They met at mid-wicket, at mid-crease, and now we see here Kadir Mohammed giving his wicket away.
Yes, he was looking to sweep that on the leg side, but he was bowled behind his back.
And definitely looking at the replay, definitely the wrong length to try that shot. Ball too close to him.
He goes for 14. I wonder if he would come back upstairs here after that shot.
Well, he does have to field later.
But that's not what Mary Boys would have wanted. They lost their 5th wicket. 5 for 126, and this is not good for their plans. Now the new batsman who is coming in. Who is that? He will have to stay there now with Baliram, and they have to do the same targets. They have to set the same targets. Try to get to the 30 over mark without losing any further wickets. To the new batsman, Tevon Jadu. He has to stay there with Baliram and see if they can reach 30, then reach 40 overs at particular targets.
I think that's one of the lovely things about the 50 over format. You do have a little more time than you think to set yourself, face up to a few deliveries, get accustomed to the pace of the wicket, the pace of the bowlers. And as you said, set yourself the targets where you want to be after 30, 35, 40 overs. Here's a quick single. Mary Boys score moving on to 126 for the loss of 5 wickets. Need to refresh.
Right, so 127 for 5. Mary Boys Sports Club batting first after being sent into bat. So it's a good decision by Defence Force to send Mary Boys into bat.
And you can see that Defence Force came in with a plan, having chosen to take the field first. The majority of overs being bowled by their spinners, as we've mentioned more than once. The game yesterday, the finals between Clark Road and Queen's Park, where the spinners would have been more effective on what has traditionally been a low, slow wicket here at the National Cricket Centre in Couva, Trinidad. Tevon Jadu facing up to Faz John, cutting at one that's too close to him, taken by the wicket keeper.
Just for those who might be interested, Newcastle versus Arsenal. That game is still goalless after 9 minutes. I know some of the Arsenal fans there already losing their grip on the English Premiership title. So Kane and John, the two openers, the two spinners operating. John 3 overs, 4 runs. Kane just getting a bit expensive in his previous over. Went for about 9 runs. His 3 overs, 1 for 19. Got the wicket of Khalil Mohammed bowling him behind his back. Jadu is pushing back to the bowler. They will get no run.
Well fielded in the end by Kane. Pretty watchful, these two so far, Jadu and Baliram. As I said, they need to do a bit of a rebuilding here to ensure that Merry Boys get to that target, a target that they can defend. As we welcome you back to the National Cricket Centre in Balmain, Vancouver, after 28.1 overs, Mary Boys 130 for 6. Fires John just picking up the wicket of Baliram, LBW for 19. And Mary Boys are in all sorts of bother at the moment.
130 for 6. Certainly not what they should be looking for. Not in their plans. Certainly not part of the script. So John with some brilliant figures. 4 overs, 1 delivery. 2 maidens, 1 for 4. His economy rate is under 1.
So the new batter in for Mary Boys, Clidell Gorn, as he faces up to John. Another appeal, and he's given him. That's 2 in the over for Fires John. And Gorn has to walk back without scoring. Mary Boys now in all sorts of bother at 130 for 7, and we have not even reached the 30 over markers yet.
So Mary Boys are falling apart here. Not so merry. And of course, we might be going home early today. We might be going home early today.
So for Mary Boys, the new batter is Keenan Tinto, and Fires John's figures looks all the more delightful. 4 overs, 4 deliveries, 2 maidens, 2 wickets for 4 runs. As you said, in the 50 over format, those are some dream figures.
Excellent figures.
In any format, as a matter of fact, I think you would take those figures.
Even in Test cricket, that is superb figures for Test cricket as well. This one is a wide.
Notwithstanding the effect of those figures that you have the batting side in all sorts of bother. Here's Tinto pushing out to cover. Well defended there. Fires John with his last delivery. And Tinto watches it sail past his off stump into the hands of the wicketkeeper. And at the end of the 29th over, Merry Boys 131 for 7.
Not so merry. Has lost 7 wickets inside 30 overs.
What's the antonym for Merry?
After, if I look to say that, Merry Boys players might stop talk to me.
I won't venture an answer.
So John 5 overs 2 for 5. Kane 4 overs 1 for 22. The two bowlers operating, doing quite well for Defence Force. I remember some years ago when Defence Force were playing in our North Zone division, playing with Defence Force, playing against them. And I always loved to get in under the skin and loved to sledge, loved to exchange words with the opposing team. The following weekend, a regiment truck had passed, and one of the players I was giving a lot of talk to, he was watching me with a big gun in his hand, decked in camouflage. I waved at him with the biggest smile.
I do hope it was one of those games where you all defeated them.
No. Well, let's just put it like this. They are playing Premiership and we are still in North Zone. So that will give you an indication who would have beaten who. Defence Force is always difficult to beat.
Cyan Kane continuing from the northern end. The tall, strapped figure of Cyan Kane on a good length. And Keenan Tinto on the back foot, defending well.
Defence Force, a team, well, an institution takes their sport pride, and they would want this Defence Force cricket team to be playing in the Premiership 1, like their basketball team and the football teams. Even want to see some Defence Force players in the national team as well. This one is down the leg side. It will get 4. Waiting to see what the signal will be from its wides. So it's 5 wides.
Welcome runs for the Merry Boys team, carrying their score onto 137 for 7. Of course, Keenan Tinto not necessarily known for his batting. He is by trade a bowler.
Yes, he would have come in at number 9. Hardly you will come in at number 9 and be a frontline batsman.
So to Tevon Jadu, who is considered an all-rounder, but more bowling all-rounder. Didn't bat much in the 2-day format earlier in the year, but picked up 15 wickets across the 2-day competition. So at the start of the 30th over, is an appeal, but only by the wicket-keeper. At the start of the 30th over, Merry Boys 137 for 7 in a spot of bother. And this just exemplifies what we were talking about a little earlier when I mentioned to you at 30, 40 overs, 30, 35 overs, you can double your score. But Ian, you mentioned that's only if you have wickets in hand. At this juncture, I don't think that Mary Boys can think about 300.
And they have to try. They have to think about surviving, and this not getting any connection. And you're seeing where they would have really missed Jerome, as we mentioning before, Darren Cruikshank and Javon Scantlebury Searles. They would certainly missing these two players in the middle. You're seeing the disparity in what they have been achieved as John continues to bowl well from the southern end.
And of course, in the case of Cruikshank, he is also a bowler, so you have that added benefit of his prowess with batting and being able to use him if needed.
In the meantime, this is a rare double, a rare 2 runs off the bowling of John. Very rare after this tight bowling.
And Stephen Jadu moves on to 4, and his 4 runs coming in 13 deliveries, which tells you that it's a little difficult for them right now. Here he is driving through cover on the up in the air, but no fielder in that area, and it's picked up on the cover boundary. 1 more added to the score at the end of 31 overs. Mary Boys 140 for 7. Jadu on 5 from 14 deliveries. Tinto still to get off the mark. He's still on 0, having faced an over and a ball already, 7 deliveries.
And this 3 runs represents the most expensive over bowled by John for the morning. 6 overs, 2 for 8.
Again, some figures you usually associate with the longer formats of the game, where it's not necessary to always score at a high pace.
And even at Test cricket, these are some good figures. 6 overs, 2 for 8.
And Sion Kane as well, 5 overs, 1 for 28.
So it's a change of bowling at the top end. Kane has been taken off. He bowled 5 overs, 1 for 28. It's the left-hander. It looks like Bristol is back. Dwayne Bristol is bowling his 7th over. 6 overs, 1 for 34 before this. What Mary Boys have to do to defend this one, they have to go all out. They cannot try to contain them for 50 overs. That's just unthinkable. They have to go all in and try to get 10 wickets.
And even before that, they need to think now here. Jadu and Tinto need to think of how can we get to the 45th, 46th over,
yes,
without losing another wicket. Here is Jadu playing through mid-on down to the long-on boundary, picking up a single. And this is what might be needed, actually. Face a couple deliveries, play, look for the singles. The field is spread inside the second power play here, so there are many gaps in the field, and they're looking for those gaps. Might be exactly what Tinto and Jadu need to do at this juncture. Get the team to the 40th, 45th over without the loss of another wicket, and then see, can we get to 200, 225?
And even if they do so at 3 runs per over, let's see they get 3 runs per over for the next 13 overs. That's 39 runs. That's after the 141 they have now. That will carry up to 180, and see how you can accelerate in the last 3 overs. Let's say 10 runs per over in the last 3 overs can get you about 210 runs, 215 according to how it goes. And that is still a lot better than 150. So you still try and fight it. You have 3 wickets in hand. Let those 3 wickets count. And that is why it's always good, even if you're a bowler, if you're a tailender, always value yourself with the bat.
As we come to the end of the 32nd over, Mary Boys in this the North Zone Premiership 2 finals down here at the National Cricket Centre in Balmain, Vancouver, are 141 for 7. Mary Boys 141 for 7. The not out batters, Tevin Jadu on 6, and Keenan Tinto still to get off the mark.
So Bristol 7 overs 1 for 35 after starting having a very tough opening over. At one point he was 9 point. His economy rate was 9.5. He's brought it down to 5. Very good bowling from Bristol after his opening troubles. John 6 overs 2 for 8. Superb.
Here's Jadu driving back past the bowler on the onside, picked up a long one, add 1 to the total. And I agree with you, Ian, where it is definitely about Mary Boys looking to turn over the strike over to over, look for the 3 runs here, 4 runs here and on over, build their way to the 45th over, where they can see how they can make the final 3 wickets count. Here's Tinto finally getting off the mark, cutting where probably a regulation second slip would have been, down to the boundary at third. 4 runs to the total. That would bring Tinto some sort of relief.
And this now with these 2 deliveries, the most expensive over bowled by John so far, 5 runs, and it's only 2 balls. So his figures, although starting to get a little sport, it's still very good. 6 overs and 6.5 overs, 2 for 13. Still very good figures.
And I think that 225 is
a realistic
is
score.
realistic enough for the Mary Boys team, and I think they can defend it to a total of 225. He has an appeal, and he's given him. He has given him.
And suddenly that 225 doesn't look so realistic anymore.
There is something as the commentators cursed, mind you.
So John responding to his most expensive over so far, responds with a wicket, that of Tinto. The same Tinto was going at him. Tinto goes, and Mary Boys 146 for 8. And the question is now, can they reach 180?
That's the lovely thing about this lovely game. You always have to assess as you go along.
146 for 8. Mary Boys really not merry today. A ball driven back on drives for 1. So Sicharan facing his first delivery, getting off the mark immediately. Jadu, who is still there, 7 from 19, going along very slowly.
And inside the 33rd over, we can say that we are now into the tail end of the batting lineup. Is Jadu defending out short mid wicket. The bowler runs around to collect. At the end of the 33rd over, Merry Boys in all sorts of trouble in the Premiership 2 final at 147 for 8. Just to give you an idea of the Merry Boys batting card so far, Mario Belcon, Bowler Alexander caught Anthony for 50. Well played 50 by the Merry Boys captain Mario Belcon before he pulled straight to Anthony Alexander at mid wicket. Gerald Ned was caught out for 8. Ikwe Craig 19. Samuel Felix 12. Sachin Baliram 19. Kadir Mohammed 14. And Clydell Gorin note, Keenan Tinto 4. The not out batsman presently, Tevin Jadu is on 7, and Rakesh Sicharan just coming to the wicket is on 1.
We talked about earlier, missing Darren Cruikshank and Javon Scantlebury-Sills, and we also, and this is 4 runs, brilliant effort, and of course 4 needed runs from Merry Boys. They go past 150. That's the 150 up. For a while I thought that 150 would have been difficult to get, but we are here at 151 for 8. Sicharan is on 5. And so we talked about missing Cruikshank and we talked about missing Scantlebury-Sills, but we also missed Aaron Banky. He's also another one. Aaron Banky has been doing quite well for Merry Boys, and of course the 3 players going off to play a bit of franchise cricket, getting that opportunity for them, and certainly they are missed by this Merry Boys team, who are not going so merry at the moment. Call them sad boys.
Yes, Sicharan defending one right back to the bowler, who is Bristol. Bristol now into his 8th over, and really hurrying through their overs here is the defence force. And he's got him, has he?
It looked like it would have missed the batsman. We have to see that again, and it came off the wicket keeper. And well held by first slip, just not off the bat. Bristol going through his overs very quickly, as you mentioned. His economy rate has dropped under 5, 4.98 from starting at 9.5.
Yes, Sicharan pulling away down to the mid-wicket boundary for 4 runs, 4 needed runs. And Sicharan is actually showing that he is much more than just a bowler. At the end of the 34th over, Merry Boys' score moves on to 155 for 8. Sicharan is asking the question of his top order batters, what have you all been doing all along? It's not that hard.
He has in fact passed Jadu. Jadu is still on 7 from 20. Sicharan is 9 from 7. So he's showing up his senior recognized batsman, John. 7 overs, 3 for 14. Bristol, 8 overs, 1 for 43.
Sicharan may take some umbrage with me calling him a tailender. They're all known as lower order batters in the modern format of the game, the new era.
And that's a wide. So Jadu went chasing after 1, but it's a wide.
Here's John into Jadu. Well defended, outer cover, picked up no run. After the wide, the Merry Boys on to 156 for 8. Here's Jadu again, defending resolutely. Picked up at short cover by the bowler. Very watchful is Jadu, I must say. Here's Jadu turning this one out to mid-wicket. The long on fielder comes around and picks up one more added to the total. with one delivery to go in the over. And just one run off the bat and the wide at the beginning of the over. Mary Boys inching their way up to some sort of respectable total. They still have 15 overs and a ball to go. Sicharan playing out to mid-wicket. Long on fielder comes around and one more added to the total again. Moving Sicharan on to 10 from just 8 deliveries. Jadu remains on 8 from 25. Dwayne Bristol comes to the end of his over. He's bowled 8, no maidens, and has picked up that 1 wicket for 43 runs.
So if I can look at Mary Boys, they have 15 overs to go, 8 wickets down. They have to try and keep these wickets together. They have to look at the 40 over mark. If Sicharan and Jadu could stick together for the next 5 overs and give themselves short targets, let's look at. And this is for no chance here for the man who had to run.
Here again is Sicharan showing that batting can be done on a wicket like this. Asking questions of the top order batters. He's now moved on to 14, a ball down the leg side, and he tucked it away past the wicket keeper for 4 runs down to the fine leg region.
So Sicharan goes on to 14, which is third 4. And Mary Boy is starting to look merry again.
And with 89 now deliveries to go in the innings. Here he is playing.
It had to be sent back.
Out at third, no run. Sicharan again.
So at the end of 36 overs, 166 for 8. Jadu going well. He faced 25 deliveries for his 8. Sicharan a runner ball 14. John 8 overs, 3 for 17. Bristol 9 overs, 1 for 47. Very good start when you take into consideration how he started.
Is Jadu cutting away square of the wicket on the offside. And at this juncture, with 83 deliveries to go in the innings, as you mentioned before, batting out the overs might be the more important thing.
So it's after 38 overs, 171 for 8. Now, there is some concern. Let's look at the replay. There is some concern with the action of Bristol's bowling at the top end. You're seeing where his arms, his elbow is bent considerably as we are having another water break. Now, there's some concern about that, and of course they want to look at that. The authorities would want to look at that. This coach will need to do some work with that, just to straighten his arm a bit. Because mind you, let's have look, one more look. So you're seeing where it's bent more than 15 degrees. 15 degrees is what has been permitted, and it's certainly more than that by the naked eye. And also we have the benefit of the slow motion replay. Now this is something I have always had a concern with. If I am an umpire and I am seeing a ball, according to the rules, according to the laws of the game, if an umpire notices a bowler is chucking, it is a no ball. He should call no ball. It's a no ball. An umpire should not see it and then ignore it or write a report. I think he has to do more than just writing a report and submitting it. It's a no ball, because if in that report it says that this bowler is chucking and he hasn't called a no ball, then that is wrong on his part. He should be made to answer why he wasn't calling the no ball. Because if the batsman would have lost his wicket by one of those deliveries, he was dismissed with a no ball, and that is unfair to the batsman. So I have a problem with umpires not calling no balls, but they are writing in the report bowler X or bowler Y is chucking. He should be made to answer why he didn't call no ball. Because according to the rules, according to the laws of the game, when you're chucking, it's a no ball.
And even the name that you mentioned off the air when the issue was brought up, Mutai Mulitaran, who later on he was cleared by the ICC and so on and so forth. I remember he was bowling in Australia, and the umpire called him for no ball consistently, and he had to come off from bowling, despite his belief that he was not pelting, as we call it here in Trinidad. But definitely, and I mean, when you have these things happening on the field at the very moment, that's when it should be brought up and highlighted. It is one of the ways to enhance the game and ensure that the players themselves actually lift their level. And when the concerns were brought up to just off air, I was outside and I was listening to the conversation, and one of the things I mentioned to them, sometimes these things happen with some of these players in the hard ball cricket. You find that there are players who are playing a lot of wind ball cricket, and in wind ball cricket that sort of action may be allowed, and muscle memory is definitely a funny thing. If you are accustomed to let's say bench pressing 100 pounds, to go up to 200 pounds is really difficult, because you've always been bench pressing 100 pounds. And as you mentioned, these are things that now not just on the field, the umpires being able to call it out at that very moment, but now it goes back as well to coaching and the lifting of the coaching standards around the game and around the region to ensure that we don't have these type of things happening. I mean, the very famous example of our very own Sunil Narayan has been well documented and well spoken about. Everybody who knows Sunil knows that he plays a lot of wind ball cricket during off season, and it actually cost him some time in the international game. But he's done his work and has gotten the coaching, as you mentioned. He was called on the field, and whether through his local cricket team or his franchise cricket team, he has done the work with the coaching staff and has been able to now continue his career even at the highest level. So it's definitely not the be all and end all for a player. As we continue into the 39th over, Maryboy is 172 for 8. Fires John continuing here.
So the seamer has come back, Justin Busby. He 4 overs, 1 for 26, 1 for 25 before the start of this over. Perhaps bringing the faster bowler to clean up the tail. But I wonder if they missed the trick in not leaving on the spinners. Because we have to look on when we look at the spinners and the option. Bristol has bowled out. John has bowled out 10 superb overs for 24 runs. But Kane has 5 overs, so he would continue. He will be brought back, perhaps with Busby to finish off the innings, because Medina has also bowled out. So it's not like they are going to bowl a 6th bowler. They look like they just have the 5 bowlers to operate.
Hardly likely we would see a 6 bowler option, although it's not foreign in any format of the game. Even at the secondary school level, in the finals, that over that went for 20
in
runs. There's one straight up, long on coming around, but again, no man's land.
Just maybe a couple meters in front of the fielder, but you thought maybe he could have put in a dive. Maybe that's asking too much.
Fortune favors the brave, I think, because Sicharan has come in and he has been possibly batting on another wicket.
18 from 21.
I think he's borrowed the wicket that Mario Belcon was batting on.
So it's safe to say that Busby and Kane will finish off.
Here's one cut away, backward a point. He's going to get 4 runs here. And again, Rakesh Sicharan showing that he's not just a tailender. He is a lower order batter.
And 176 for 8, that's runs on the board already. Now it's up to defense force to get it. And the more runs you make, the better the better chance you are giving your bowlers. So you're giving your bowlers more runs to defend. So it's 182 for 8, a lot better than when it was 141 earlier. And so it's 41 more runs.
And this is at the end of the 40th over, so that 225 that I mentioned earlier is well within sights here.
Well, and even more, according to how Sicharan is going, because he's batting at a runner ball, but he's not taking a lot of big chances, so he's not living dangerously. Jadu, 15 from 40, he's contented with letting Sicharan go at it, and he'll be the glue in the innings. He will just stay there, and if Sicharan should out, then he will still be there with the number 11. So Sicharan and Jadu batting in what you call a proper partnership. Of course, we are seeing this one is beating all ends up, Jadu. As we look, we are seeing a 6th bowler, Samkaran. So we are not going to see Kane. Jordan Samkaran
getting his first ball in the 41st over as Jadu plays this one nicely off his legs down to the mid-wicket boundary. Long on comes around to field. Throw a bit high there for Samkaran. But again, with 58 deliveries to go in the innings, Merry Boys would be looking definitely for the very least, to bat their entire 50 overs. As we see a nice little sputtering of fans coming in. Here's Sicharan clipping one off his legs down to the long on boundary. So Jordan Samkaran getting his first ball in the 41st over. Merry Boys tottering slightly at 184 for 8. Looking possibly at getting to that 225, 230 mark, a score that they would believe that they can defend, because they do have bowlers that can do the business.
Yes, of course, and that's what they want to do. They want to give their bowlers a chance. 184 for 8 is defendable. You can defend this.
Sam Curran. Into Jadu, tucking this one out a short fine, taking up yet another single. And this is what we mentioned earlier, that this is what they would have had to do when they came to the wicket. Look for the gaps in the field, pick up 3-4 runs. And at the 40th over, you actually mentioned, Ian, getting to 180 in the 40th over. And they were 182. They made you a liar for 2 runs.
I called it. But what they need to do now, they have consolidated. Now they have to, okay, let's go and think about what we could be, where we could be at 45 overs. So let's take the next 5 overs. Let's see if we can take 15 runs in the next 5 overs, 15 to 20 runs. That can get us to about 200, 210, 215. And we can get the other runs in the last 5 overs, maybe 20 more runs. They don't have the luxury to go at 6 runs per over at this stage. They don't have the luxury to go at 8 runs per over. They have to think about something more realistic. 4 runs per over can get you 225. A very big effort from Merry Boys, given what was happening earlier. Now we are seeing the return of Kane from the top end. So Kane is coming back, 5 overs, well 6. Just to double check his bowling. Yes, 5 overs, 1 for 28. There's a shout, but it's down to the boundary, but well saved. The umpire is not going to signal 4. So good work down on the boundary. Jadu and Sicharan doing their best, and they're looking at 200. And get to 200 in the next 5 overs. Missing, picked up by the wicketkeeper in this instance. Jadu is on 19 from 45. A very good innings from him.
In the context of the game, 19 from 45, you might think, oh, in a 50 overs, he's going at a strike rate of 42. What is he doing? But in the context of this game, he is doing exactly what you have mentioned, Ian, holding up an end. Here he is, turning one backward of square, short fine leg comes around and picks it up. No run added to the score. In the context of the game, this is exactly what would have been needed of Tevon Jadu when he came to the wicket. Merry Boys were in very much a spot of bother at the point in time. Here he is defending down to short cover and no run. Merry Boys 187 for 8 with 2 deliveries to go in the 42nd over. Sion Kane from the northern end. Jadu clipping this one nicely off his legs down to the mid-wicket boundary. Long one comes around, the throw comes in, and they're back easily for 2 runs. And 2 valuable runs added to the total.
The batsman looked like he was struck as the ball came back in, but he would be glad to know that the ball would have hit him and not the wicket. And perhaps he was short of the ground, so he would take that and just rub it off. That's Jadu, who moves on to 21 with a nice shot going down to long on.
Here he is cutting straight short, extra cover, no run. And this again is the other side of him being 19 from 45 balls. He has now gotten himself in. He is now in, and he is set. He should have now the pace of the wicket, the pace of the bowlers, the plans of the bowlers. He has seen it because he's been there for 45 deliveries and now 49 deliveries, and he can now open up, as we say. going into the latter end of the innings. After 42 overs, Mary Boys 189 for 8. Tevon Jadu on 21, Ryan Sicharan on 24, the not out batters. Hey.
It's good to know that the partnership is 43 so far between Sicharan and Jadu. They're going quite well in the 9th wicket partnership. You're getting a partnership of 43. In excess of 40 is always good, especially in this context.
For the 9th wicket. Here's Sicharan driving through cover. Long off comes around and fields another one added to the score. The partnership of 43 coming in 57 deliveries, a strike rate of just in and around the 80-90 mark. And as we said, coming in when Mary Boys was in all sorts of trouble, it is definitely a welcome partnership by these two lower order batters. Jadu here now facing up at Sam Karan. Forward defensive, playing it into the short mid-wicket area, bringing us to the end of the 43rd over.
It's the end of the 43rd over. Sicharan is on 25 off 28 deliveries. Jadu 21 from 53. The partnership is now 44 runs and they're going quite well. They have 7 overs to go. They have the short target I would have given them, 45 overs. Let's see if they can get to 200 in 45 overs.
And definitely the way that Sicharan and Jadu are building their innings, it does seem very likely that, as you mentioned, Ian, getting to 200 by the 45th over and then assessing to see how many we can get from the final 30 balls is definitely possible. As we see more and more people coming into the National Cricket Centre here in Couva, of course, this is the finals of Premiership 2 North Zone, being contested by Mary Boys Cricket Club and the Defence Force. So, broadcast being brought to you by Cricket 360 and 360 TV. Of course, if you're in the central area or even any other part of Trinidad and you want to enjoy a lovely afternoon of cricket, because this one promises to be very exciting going into the second half of the innings, as Sicharan here cuts away to backward point, picking up yet another run. And definitely, Ian, this one is definitely poised for the second innings, the reply by Defence Force this afternoon, to be quite exciting. If we were to go based on what we saw in the Premiership 1 finals yesterday, where the team bowling second bowled out the team chasing, who knows, Mary Boys might actually be able to follow Clark Road in that vein and bowl Defence Force out. So it does promise to be a very exciting afternoon of cricket here at the National Cricket Centre in Balmy in Couva. Here's Sion Kane into Jadu, who tucks this one onto the leg side. The wicketkeeper comes around and picks up. No run added just yet. Score remains at 191 for 8 midway through the 44th over. The tall, bulky figure of Sion Kane. Here he is into Jadu, pushing into short extra cover. The fielder coming across, fumbles and pushes it down to long off where it's fielded, and 1 run added to the score. Mary Boys definitely on course for that total that you talked about. Here's Kane into Sicharan, cutting at one that's too close to him though. getting an under edge out to short square leg.
Some good news for the Arsenal fans. They are leading 1-0 over Newcastle. Martin Odegaard with the goal. He's in some goal scoring form these days for Arsenal. Odegaard.
Here's Ciceran attempting a slog sweep here. Getting it. So at the end of the 44th over, Merry Boys 192 for 8, 36 deliveries remaining in their innings, and after tottering at the fall of the 8th wicket with the score on 146, this pair has now taken Merry Boys to the brink of 200 runs, with anything over 200 possibly being very much defendable on a wicket that promises to probably get lower and slower as the afternoon goes along. Here is
good shot. Could it go all the way to the boundary? Just pull it in, just about a meter inside. Let's look at the umpire signal. It doesn't say, doesn't give any signal. So they run 2. Now as they're getting to 45 overs, what would they do? Would they accelerate with 2 wickets in hand, or try to go at least to 48 overs?
I think 47, 48 overs might be the sighting. They've basically gotten to the 45th over, but as I mentioned in the last over, Jadu in particular, he's been there for just under 10 overs. He's faced 58 deliveries, so he is set. And they are going along nicely. So being in for 58 and 31 deliveries respectively, you would expect that they can definitely in the 46, 47th over start thinking about accelerating. But I don't think they have to do or change much about what they're doing because they're playing well. Here is
going down to cow corner for 4.
Yes, this is Ciceran pulling the ball all the way down to mid-wicket, 4 runs.
199 for 8. 1 run short of the 200, and just as what we were saying, 200 runs in about 45 overs. We have called it almost perfectly.
Was that at the end of the 45 overs or during the 45th over?
At the end of 45. Yes, at the end of 45.
So with two deliveries to go in the 45th.
Just 1 run to me. Just need 1 run for that.
Let's see if they'll make Ian Mason a liar for 1 run. Here's an appeal from the bowler. Umpire signals 1 ball remaining for the over.
Because at the 40th over, they made me a liar for 2 runs.
Yes, they were 182. Here is Ciceran cutting away backward of point, picked up at short third. No run added to the score, so and at the end of 45,
they owe me 1.
They're 1 run short of what Ian Mason said they would have been at.
So now with the last 5 overs, I am giving them 5 runs per over. So that should get them just to the 224, 225, somewhere about there.
And as I mentioned, I mean, they are looking a lot more comfortable as they face more deliveries. Both Ciceran and Jadu look to be a lot more comfortable, whether it's seam or spin. And they are starting to play a lot more shots. And I think a runner ball might even be possible for this too.
A runner ball is good. A runner ball will get them to 229. So between 225 to 229, good score.
And here's Kane into bowl to Ciceran, who tucks away on the leg side. And the 200 is up for Merry Boys. 45.1 overs. And having been 146 in the 33rd over, it did not look too likely that Merry Boys would have gotten to 200. But Ciceran and Jadu have definitely steadied the ship. Rakesh Sicharan is on 30 from 35 deliveries. Tevon Jadu 26 from 59. Going along nicely as the batters meet mid-pitch. Probably just to say, let's keep going. Here's Sicharan. Powerful shot straight down the wicket, straight past the bowler. 4 runs straight into the side screen on the northern end. Here's Sicharan pulling one straight through cow corner. Down on one knee and placing it between the long on and mid-wicket fielders. It is now 211, man. I think Sicharan and Jadu have answered your question, Ian. What would they do? Would they look to get to the 47th over the way they are going, or would they open up and actually try accelerating a little more? And they have accelerated quite a bit, with 12 runs already coming from this, the 46th over. So as Sicharan pulling away, I think possibly because there's some dust blowing across the wicket.
So while I was thinking that they would be just going along cautiously, 5 runs per over, and maybe getting to 225 to 29, they are thinking, let's get the 10 runs per over. Let's get to 240, 250. That's what they're thinking, getting to 250.
Here's Keane into Sicharan. Down the leg side, given a wide, is now 13 runs from this, the 46th over. And dare I say, Sicharan well set after facing 39 deliveries. He's now better than a runner ball. He has a half century in sights. Here he is pulling backward of square, giving us 4 runs by the umpire.
Oh my.
And Ian Wayson's expression says it all. He has now moved on to 44, Sicharan. The score after 46 overs, 216 for 8, Merry Boys.
Jadu 26, Sicharan 44, and the partnership has gone to 72. No, 73. The partnership is now 70. Well, 70. Partnership is 70. Because it was 146.
Yes, they lost their 8th wicket in the 33rd over for
146.
At 146.
So the partnership now is 70. Sicharan 44 of those runs, and Jadu is on 26. So a 70 run and continuing, still going on, a 10th wicket partnership. Merry Boys feeling merry again at the 216 for 8. 4 overs to go. That's a big hit, but just getting one because there's a fielder there down at the mid-wicket boundary. And You will just get one. Jadu moves on to 27. Sicharan is on 44. 217 for 8. So they are going along. They are looking to get to 240 to 50. And that will certainly be a very good score to defend. I think Captain Mario Belcon should be happy with the effort of these batsmen.
Here is Sicharan cutting away backward of point. Short third fielder coming around to pick up, and he now moves on to 45.
So we're looking at the scorecard so far, but apart from Mario Belcon's 50.
Here he is again. Sorry, Ian. Here he is again pulling a square of the wicket.
They will just get, they will come back for 2. Now Sicharan is 45. Then there were a couple starts. Jadu is on 27. Baliram made 19, just like Craig. So here thereabout with some contributions.
And that's the thing with some of the Mary Boys batters. As you see Sam Karan bowling here to Jadu, Tevon Jadu, trying to flick that one away through square, getting a leading edge back to the bowler. Many of the Mary Boys batters actually, as you mentioned, Ian, got starts, getting themselves to 15, 19, and not carrying on. And here is Jadu cutting away backward of pointer through the short third region, wide of the short third fielder, and picking up himself a single, carrying him to 27. Bringing Rakesh Sicharan back on strike.
Not getting past extra cover at that point. Jadu is on 30, Sicharan is on 45. Score, the projected score 239. Already past my projected score 225.
At the end of the 46th over, with 24 deliveries to go in the innings, Mary Boys 221 for 8. Definitely, Ian, a competitive score.
Very competitive at this stage, given what we have been seeing, how the pitch is playing, and the key is Mary Boys bowling. They have to be hitting the ball running, hit the ground running with the ball from ball 1. 3 overs to go at the end of the innings. 47 overs gone. Mary Boys were in a spot of bother at 146 for 8. These batsmen has batted together. For over 70 runs. They're getting one more here, and Misfield didn't pick it up cleanly, allowing the batsman to get one.
Sicharan.
Well driven, they will get one. Maybe they take one for the throw. Yes, they do.
Moving Sicharan on to 47 now from 43 deliveries, Ian. And as I mentioned a few overs ago, he does definitely have a half century in his sights. And he seems to have assessed the situation well, and he's now had the pace of the wicket. Here's one, he's flashing outside the off stump. Half an appeal by the bowler, but nothing doing, as they say, for defence force at the moment. 224 for 8, 4 deliveries to go in the 48th over. Justin Busby, having bowled 5 overs prior to this one. Here he is into Sicharan, who pulls square of the wicket, picked up by the square leg fielder, and moves him on to 48, bringing Tevon Jadu, who has a strike rate of 48, back on to strike. 31 runs from 64 deliveries. Being that anchor, as you mentioned earlier, Ian, ensuring that one end is held up. Here he is opening his front leg, pushing the ball straight through extra cover. He's going to pick up 6 runs.
6 runs over extra cover. Beautiful shot from Jadu. So there goes my projected score through the window.
A very well played shot by Tevon Jadu there, clearing that front leg, and the ball on a good length there, allowing himself to free his arms through the line of the ball over extra cover. One of the harder shots to play inside out in cricket. Here he is getting one full delivery on the toes, very well kept out by Jadu, who has now moved on to 37 at the end of the 48th over. From Justin Busby. Merry Boys are now 231 for 8. 12 deliveries to go, Ian. So can they pick up another 20 runs in 12 deliveries?
Yes, they can, because in the last 3 overs, they have gone for 32 runs. Remember, at the end of 45 overs, they were 199. Now they are 231. That's 32 runs in the 3 overs. So, of course, they can get 20 more runs, and even more, because I suspect in the last over they will be throwing everything.
And they are now closer to that projected score I had spoken about earlier, before they started losing too many wickets, where mid innings they were set that they could possibly get in the region of 260, 270, even 275. As you mentioned, the last 3 overs going for excess of 10 runs and over, thanks to some intelligent batting here from Rakesh Sicharan and Tevon Jadu. Sicharan just 2 runs short of what would be a very well played 50, and a timely 50 at that.
Very disappointing feeling could be in the Defence Force camp. After having Merry Boys 146 for 8, they should have thought that they would have been on a stumping.
Yes, Sicharan, yes, he's stumped.
To be stumped on 48, I'm feeling so sorry for Sicharan. 231 for 9, and that certainly would put a damper in the innings. Now they have 11 deliveries to face. The number 11 batsman is coming in to bat. I think what he would need to do now is just get a single and bring Jadu into strike, and let Jadu take care of the rest of the innings.
If ever there was a commentator's curse, we were just talking up Rakesh Sicharan getting to a well-played 50 and 2 runs shy. Nonetheless, a very well-played innings, getting the congratulations of his colleague, incoming batter. As I wait for my score, Dionarayan, the incoming batter Dionarayan, giving Sicharan some well-deserved congratulations for a very well-played 48. At better than a runner ball, actually.
Yes, well played for that that innings there by Sicharan, and that will give him the confidence when he has the ball in his hand now, and that is what can happen. One factor of the game can bring in the confidence for the other factor of the game. That will be very good for Sicharan, but also that wicket by Defence Force, they would like to clean it up now, and 231 still gettable for them. They would be thinking, yes, 231 is good, but psychologically they want to get to chase, they rather chase 232 than 252.
Very much so. So here is the new batter Dionarayan taking his guard, and he's going to be facing up to Jordan Samkaran, who still has 5 deliveries to go in this over. And once Merry Boys can get through this over, they will have one over to face again. 11 deliveries to go in the innings. Here's Sam Curran.
But he gets the single to bring.
That's a little bit more than a single.
He gets more than a single. He gets 4. Try 4 on for size.
Moving the score up to 235 for 9. Mary Boys, Dion Ryan showing that maybe he should have been batting higher up the order as well. Going down forward defensive, prodding at it. A ball outside of his off stump, and whether intentionally or non-intentionally, getting an edger through the fine third region behind the wicket keeper, picking up 4 runs.
But I'm sure if you ask him, he will say it was intentionally. If he was out, he was unintentionally.
The other side of that coin, I always say the scorecard never says edge 4. It says 4 runs.
Exactly.
Here he is trying something cute, struck on the pad.
And he's gone.
An appeal.
Has
he given him?
He's gone like before wicket. I can't understand, but his confidence went up from 0 to 100. After getting that edge, you try something too cute. You try a cheeky shot and struck leg before wicket. I don't know why he's trying that kind of shot for a ball on the stumps. And that is something I see batsmen tend to do. When I am batting, mind you, I don't ever sweep. I always say the place is not dirty. I am not going to sweep unless the ball is going down leg side. So in case if I miss, I am safe because the ball is going down leg side. I'm seeing batsmen with the ball on the stumps. I think it would be better to come forward on the front foot and play with a straight bat. No, they like to sweep. That's their thing. But of course, he goes for just 4. So the innings is closed, 235 for 10. Defence force needs 236. What do you think?
I think this is very defendable, but as I mentioned earlier, it is going to be an interesting afternoon of cricket. Would the Merry Boys rue the fact that they left 9 deliveries unplayed in their innings, possibly 9 more runs to defend? But having said that, this is the Premiership 2 finals between Merry Boys and Defence Force. And as the old saying goes, Ian, runs on the board are runs on the board, especially and notwithstanding it's a finals.
Yes, of course, runs on the board. We have 235. That's a lot better than 150 because at one stage it was 146 for 8. 235 is, they should be very happy with that score. They have themselves a chance. What they have to do now is let the bowlers do their job.
And as we spoke about earlier in the innings, this cricket centre, the National Cricket Centre in Vancouver, the pitch is one that is a bit spinner friendly, and our friend Kadir Mohammed had mentioned to us that they do have at their disposal, Merry Boys, 4 to 5 spinners in their team today. Could we possibly be seeing 50 overs bowled by all 5 of the spinners?
Let's see. So that's the only way we can find out. Is stay with us and come back and we'll see the Defence Force innings.
So most definitely at the end of the Merry Boys innings, Merry Boys, before we take a short break and get ready for the Defence Force a reply, just to give you an idea of the Merry Boys Sports Club batting card. Mario Belcon, 50 from 57 deliveries. Jarrell Ned, 8 from 17 deliveries. Ikwe Craig, 19 from 16 deliveries. Samuel Felix, 12 from 30 deliveries. Sachin Baliram, 19 from 44 deliveries. Kadir Mohammed, 14 from 21 deliveries. Tevon Jadu, a very well played 37 from 87 deliveries. He really anchored the innings, staying not out on 37. Clidell Gorin, was LBW without scoring. Keenan Tinto, 4 from 12. Rakesh Sicharan. Rakesh Sicharan, a well played 48 from 56 deliveries. And Darren Dionarain, last man out, LBW, for 4 runs.
So that's it. We come back, we'll see the Defence Force reply.